Thursday, Parshas Bamidbar Chuf Zayin Iyar Tuvshim Pai Vov. My name is Gershy Schwarcz and I'm here with the news of the last 24 hours. Today is May 14th, 2026. Lemispuram.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Hayoim Shnayim V'arbuim Yoim Shaim Shishu Shuvios Lu Oimer Malchus Shebi Sod. I know this because of Click 613, the bot. I spoke about it yesterday. Okay, my brother's bot. Click 613. What an amazing place to go to find out anything you need to know. Like if you're stuck in China, you need a mini mincha or anything like that, you just call them. All right, now welcome to China, where everything is made and used in Iran against America, obviously. And Xi Jinping, the president of China, welcomes Trump with open arms, as in like arms that he gives to Iran against America. Also, what is the whole ballroom idea that Trump is talking about? Because a listener called in and asked very nicely, so I'll talk about it. Okay, now, let's talk about Ring and Go. This is what I want to talk about with you. Ring and Go is a loyal sponsor, obviously. I have to talk about it. I know you want to hear the news. But before you want to hear the news, I know you're very desperate in buying that camera, or headphones, or electronic devices, or anything electronic, or even hairbrushes. I'm just kidding. No hairbrushes. The point is like this. Ring and Go is your place to go when you need to buy anything. If you want to buy it on Amazon, why would you go to Amazon? You can go to Ring and Go. You just call them on 347-480-7455. As trusted and even better than that, they deliver it to you. Same-day delivery in Borough Park and one-day delivery in tri-state area. Free delivery. Also, you'd have to pay Prime fees. And besides the fact, you could just talk to someone and explain exactly what you want, and they'll tell you. And within minutes, you'll just get your order. It's so easy. Why would you bother with Amazon? I know Amazon's easy. This is even easier. ringandgo.us. All right, they sell everything. Phone plans, the ganze Sache. You want to make a phone plan with a service, they got some text messages, and all. He'll help you with that. This is what they do. They do that. They have tablets. They have... Should I go on? The list is long. But call them. Again, the number is 347-480-7455. Okay, Gershy, go on with the news. All right, I'll do that. No problem. Let's do this. As soon as Trump arrived in China yesterday, Chinese President Xi Jinping offered him two things, a welcome and then a warning. This is Trump's first visit to Beijing in 9 years. So, he received a very large welcome, but in the air in the capital city was very dirty. As you know, China's air is polluted. Terribly dirty because of all the factories and everything. The government, usually, what they do is when very important visitors come and visit the president, they clean the air. They stop factories and they make sure the air is clean, but the government didn't do anything to stop those factories and to clear the sky, which China, like I said, does. But I guess Trump didn't get that kind of welcome because who knows? At first, the two leaders talked about trade, business problemen, and AI security risks. Trump also extended the pause on new taxes and tariffs on each other's goods. And then they talked about China's mega order for about 500 Boeing airplanes. Those American airplanes can effectively and efficiently carry 138 to 230 passengers per trip. Like I mentioned yesterday, he had with him all these CEOs and business people for a reason, I guess. Boeing's person was also there. Trump called the trip the biggest meeting, especially since he was with Americans' top businessman there. He was also with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio when China previously banned him. Now, Marco Rubio was banned. Why? But the Chinese government simply changed the spelling of his Chinese name, and that automatically skipped the law. With all these, Trump said that the future with China could be fantastic. But it's not all good news. Xi Jinping, warned about a real conflict over Taiwan. He said this could happen if the Taiwan issue is handled badly. Xi Jinping says China and America share many, many interests. He asked Trump if the two countries could work together as partners instead of rivals. Xi Jinping also gave a serious warning about the risk of war, especially with the Thucydides trap. This Thucydides trap says that a rising country and a strong ruling country often go to war. So, which country is which? Well, let me give you a clue. Here is a clue. A leaked spy report is causing major concerns about inside of the U.S. Department of War. Reports say Chinese companies are planning secret weapon sales to Islamic regime in Iran. The leak shows that during the recent conflict, China gave the regime secret information about American military forces. China also supplied the materials used to build Iranian drones and missiles. made in China and assembled in Tehran. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright warned the Senate on Wednesday that the Islamic regime in Iran is dangerously close to a nuclear weapon. Wright testified that Iran is only a small number of weeks away from getting weapons-grade uranium. Many people are asking, how is this possible? Last year, Israel and the United States dropped massive bunker-buster bombs on Iranian nuclear sites during Operation Midnight Hammer. Yeah, it was last year almost. The US military also targeted the regime earlier this year in Operation Epic Fury, killed many of their leaders, right? While those military strikes caused major damage, intelligence reports warned that the deepest underground facilities survived the bombings. Secretary Wright's new warning confirms the terrorist state was able to keep its nuclear program running and safe.
Okay, laten we redden een beetje statistics. Gewinnen de lottery, de chances zijn alsof we treffen naar parking in Borreparkeer of Jamte. Gewinnen met uren, doe ze schon alsof we treffen naar parking in Thames River of Greenham dienst. Ik gelijk Spanish, freak vijfers. Vijfers? Ja, sure. Nou, voor $5. I got fuel mortgage payments. Gedekt. Heb je de 1000 in cash? Laat ze die in cash. A luxury vacation. Eindje oppakken bij de mensen van de goede prijzen voor tickets aan. Who cares? Dat zo'n stuk cijfers. Neem aan teilen de uren auction. $5 aan prijs. Uren. Iedere nacht wist je nog je $5 kost nou je de prijs. No more that. Okay, so it's 732-719-2060. Call in. Is dat gewinnen? $5 kost nou je de prijs. Ja. Oera.
All right, the war is expanding quickly. The United Arab Emirates. If you didn't understand this ad, I already said it yesterday, by the way. If you didn't understand it, then go to uraauction.org. Just buy $5. You'll win prizes, amazing prizes, up to $700,000, I think. The United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia officially joined military operations against Iran. Saudi fighter jets and forces from Kuwait attacked Iranian terrorists in Iraq. Speaking of Iraq, by the way, just now, they actually major fights broke out after the new Zayed guy won the elections, obviously, to become the next prime minister in Iraq, and we have this Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, who congratulated him. He was endorsed by Trump, but the other people, the oppositions, are fighting and they're angry and don't want him. They want the other guy, the guy that is a terrorist, actually. So Iran answered with attacks in Iraqi Kurdistan region. Iran is also threatening Kuwait, but Kuwait officials still arrested 4 Iranian military officers, like I said yesterday. The men were trying to enter the Bubiyan island secretly and were planning hostile attacks. Iran foreign minister called the arrest illegal. The Strait of Hormuz. Iran deployed many fast military boats and small submarines because the Strait of Hormuz is a very important waterway to Iran and other countries. The United States put a blockade there, obviously, as you don't know. Maybe you don't, maybe you do know. I'm joking. If you listen to On Edge, you do know. Both Americans and Iranians are stopping ships from using the strait, as you can imagine. This led to huge financial losses across the world. In Washington, the U.S. Army is facing a money problem of up to $6 billion. Army leaders are now cutting costs, with their training programs being the first to say goodbye, obviously. A major diplomatic issue started between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Like I reported here yesterday, the office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed a secret wartime trip to Abu Dhabi. They said Netanyahu met with the UAE president, while other leaders also made secret visits, like the head of Mossad, Defense Secretary Director General, and also the head of the Shin Bet. But hours later, the UAE denied the entire story. The UAE Foreign Ministry released a strong statement and called the claims fake news. The Israeli government is facing a crisis that could lead to early elections. If you remember my yesterday's segment, I mentioned it, that they came to Rav Lando's house. Rav Lando made a very, very, very strong and strict decree. He told the people to drop out of the coalition. The issue is the military draft. The Yeshiva Bruchim, the Haredi United Torah Judaism Party, Degel Torah Party, is angry that the government didn't pass a law to protect Yeshiva Bruchim from being drafted. They are now threatening to dissolve the Knesset. In response, coalition chairman Ophir Katz submitted a bill to dissolve the government. The opposition, Yesh Atid party, also submitted their own bill to trigger new elections. Leaders of Degel Torah announced that they are stopping their automatic support for the prime minister. Likud party member Yuli Edelstein criticized the Haredi parties, accusing them of playing political games amid dangers and amid wars. The Shas party says they also want to dissolve the Knesset, but they still support Benjamin. President Isaac Herzog has been trying to broker a resolution to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Benjamin's ongoing cases for several weeks. Remember yesterday he was led out of court with an envelope in his hand saying that he has to go to a secret meeting. Herzog had previously put off deciding on presidential pardon because Trump asked, right, saying that a plea deal should be pursued first. Today, Prime Minister Netanyahu addressed these issues directly and denied reports that any legal deal or compromise is currently in place regarding his court cases. Now, Netanyahu called the specific reports about a compromise proposal from President Herzog nonsense. Separately, President Herzog warned that political division represents Israel's biggest internal threat right now. Israel is investing more than 1 billion shekels to help students after wartime school closures. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced a large funding plan. The money will support longer summer programs. Kindergarten and 6th grade students can stay in camp programs until the end of July, while middle school students will receive a 10-day academic catch-up program. The new classes will also teach artificial intelligence lessons, gearing them up for the next war. The Lebanese Health Ministry said at least 25 people were killed in Israeli airstrikes during the last 24 hours. IDF, Israel's military, says it is targeting Hezbollah rocket launchers and command centers. Unfortunately, Hezbollah hides weapons inside civilian neighborhoods and refuses to give them up. This makes the IDF strikes more difficult. 12 people were recently killed in IDF vehicle strikes, while another strike killed a Hezbollah terrorist. He is the 8th targeted killed so far. Lebanon's Foreign Ministry rejected Iranian claims about several Iranians killed in an Israeli airstrike on Beirut hotel. Iran said the dead men were diplomats, but Lebanese officials said the Iranian embassy never coordinated their travel. Officials also questioned whether the men had diplomatic papers. Well, you don't know who they are. We'll find out tomorrow. The IDF is reviewing a Hezbollah video, which were reported yesterday about a drone attack on Israeli soldiers in Lebanon. And they say the dangers of drone attacks are exaggerated. The third round of talks between Israel and Lebanon is planned soon. Today, IDF strategy chief Amichai Levin will join the talks. Senior officers from the former Assad regime, the Assad government in Syria, are now in Lebanon helping Hezbollah. The situation is increasing tensions between Damascus and Beirut, even though both governments are trying to improve cooperation. Officials fear this growing cooperation with Hezbollah could weaken Syria's new government. Ahmad al-Shara, who, by the way, called Russia to deliver Assad to him for trial. The Trump administration's Board of Peace for Gaza is preparing a 15-point plan. This will support peace and remove Hamas weapons. They tried. One version of the plan would not force Hamas to fully shut down. Instead, Hamas would promise peace and give its weapons to a government led by professional experts. The United Nations, speaking of which, right? Similar group of people. It's just called Board of Peace now instead of the United Nations. Same thing. The UN asked Israel to cancel a new law about the October 7th attackers. The law would create a special court to put the attackers on trial and put to death. The UN Human Rights Chief, Volker Turk, strongly criticized the plan. Israel's foreign ministry said, well, it is only seeking justice for victims, and that the UN should stay out. A federal judge in Washington blocked U.S. sanctions against UN official Francesca Albanese. Albanese often criticize Israel. Now, Judge Richard Leon ruled against the Trump administration. He said the administration was trying to punish Albanese because of her views. The Chassidische world is mourning Rebbetzin Ruchel Rosenbaum Ulea Shulam. She was the wife of the Meshbitzer Rebbe Shlita, and fought a serious illness for many, many years. She passed away yesterday, Wednesday, at Ma'ayana Shia Medical Center in Bnei Brak. She was only 38 years old, very young, and leaves behind 6 kinderlich nebuch. May Hashem have an aliyah, and my condolences to the family. What can I say? It's a sad, sad story for the Rebbe to lose his wife so young. Only Basiris Taivas. Let's talk about Protobite, because I just need to air it out, you know. Protobite is there to air out your problems in your business. I'll have I'm transitioning, I have to do something. So basically what's happening is that you're in your office, and you're thinking about what's the next big thing in my business. What do? I have a program that I need to build. So let's go on AI. AI, can you help me build a program? You spend weeks and you find yourself 5 years later not getting anywhere. Just wasting thousands and thousands of dollars in different AI tools when you could just spend less than that probably, or maybe the equivalent, but get it done in less than 12 days. Okay, I'm not joking 12 days. Maybe 2 weeks. Wait, 2 weeks is almost 12 days. I'm joking. It's not. But the point is that get it done by a professional. Okay? Get it done by a professional. Why would you bother? 12 days is less than 2 weeks. Why would you bother? I know math. That's why I hire Protobyte. I don't have to figure out the math. I let them figure it out. They do it for me. I tell them, listen, this is what I want. They do it. 347-354-1237. All right. More than 5,000 Yidden received permission to enter Shechem. They went to daven there at the Kaiva Yosef HaTzadik. The group entered on Tuesday night during Yesod Shabi Yesod. And after sunrise, they davened Shachris Kivasikin, which was yesterday. A special ceremony was also held for Hillel David Sukkot. The boy is named after Reb Hillel Lieberman. Reb Hillel Lieberman, Hashem Yinkem Dumoy, whom Palestinian terrorists murdered him 26 years ago. A Haredi man from Bnei Barak, identified as only Yaakov, recently completed a dangerous journey deep into Yemen, into Taiman. I guess Avram Schwarcz is in competition with him. He traveled using a foreign passport to areas controlled by the Houthis, the Houthi terror groups. That was a daring trip, obviously. Yaakov was interviewed he took pictures and filmed everything. He was interviewed by Khan 11 correspondent Roy Kais. After he returned safely, Yaakov explained his motivation was to see other cultures, calling the decision crazy. He noted that even among travelers who go to unconventional places, Yemen is seen as the next level beyond locations like Lebanon and Syria. Well, travel to Yemen, particularly the Houthi stronghold in the capital, Sana'a, is extremely dangerous for Israelis and Jews, obviously. Yaakov told Mr. Case he went to extreme lengths to protect himself. He cut the tags out of his clothing, brought fake receipts from the United States to prove where he lives, and left his personal phone in Dubai. Yaakov said the fear of being exposed was terrifying and stressful throughout the entire journey. Well, he was told by a local man that if he stayed overnight in Sana'a, he would likely be his last night, be killed. Yaakov described visiting a Houthi military academy in the city. He called the environment jihad culture and noted that one of the books with the most copies was Hitler's Mein Kampf. He presented himself as an American journalist and promised to portray the Houthis as freedom fighters. Despite the deep hostility towards Israel, Yaakov secretly managed to put on tefillin while in the capital. He is safely back home now, though he is reportedly already thinking about his next high-risk destination. I guess that high. Let's talk about Mamdani. A historic Hasidische... Wait, did I miss that? I probably missed it. Here we go. Yeah, that's it. So historic... Not Mamdani yet. We're not up to there. We'll get there. Don't worry. I have the news all figured out, Okay. A historic Hasidische landmark in Ukraine is being rebuilt. The city of Schwarcz presents a plan to rebuild the historic Klois. The building was built more than 120 years ago by Reb David Moshe of Schwarcz. The city council received a $100,000 grant from the Swiss Alif Organization. The money will pay for the reconstruction of the neglected building. All right, now we can talk about Zohran Mamdani, shall we? All right, here we go. New York City's Mayor Zohran Mamdani is facing criticism about anti-Semitism. Florida Senator Rick Scott said Mamdani is allowing violence against Jewish people in the city, while Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman, we decided we're going to call him Fetterman, called him a political extremist. Both Mamdani and Governor Kathy Hochul denied rumors about the upcoming Israeli parade. They were accused of telling the police to stand down so that the pro-Israel marchers would not be protected. In fact, Mamdani confirmed there will be a full police presence at the event to protect them. Zohran Mamdani presented a $124.7 billion budget plan that will close a large debt. That was basically to tax the rich. However, experts disagreed with him and disagreed with the plan, saying it is based on temporary fixes and hidden fee increases. Nichnas Yaini Utzusad. The son of U.S. Senator William Paul, made anti-Semitic comments in a bar in Washington. He was shikar, was drunk, he appeared drunk and shouted hateful comments against Jews and other people. On Wednesday, Paul posted a public apology on social media saying, well, he drank too much alcohol. He also said he was getting help for a drinking problem. Sure. But we know the truth. Senator Rand Paul is promising to challenge the broad pardon. President, I heard a funny joke. This guy was a comedian standing in a bar, and he was obviously joking about, he was joking, and he asked there was Jews in the bar, obviously, and he asked, "There's any Muslims here?" And one guy says, "Yes." I was Muslim. He says, "You know, the Muslims are great people." He's Israeli. He's great people, wonderful people. And then his name is Yochas Ponder, by the way. Just saying. I just heard it as a funny joke. So the guy says to him, "Yes, but you know, you guys, you don't drink, right? You don't drink alcohol?" And he said, "No, we don't drink alcohol." He says, "Wow, it's amazing. Look at what you've done. It's unbelievable. Imagine with alcohol." And the oilem had gelacht, and it was funny. Senator Rand Paul is promising to challenge the broad pardon President Joe Biden granted to Dr. Anthony Fauci on his final day in office. Paul says the legal shield should not stop the former government doctor from facing a courtroom. Meanwhile, the active CIA officer who leaked, whistleblower, called him yesterday, yes, reported it, is accusing Fauci for forcing his way into a top-secret investigation. This was a top secret American investigation, basically, into the COVID-19 pandemic, on whether it was a Chinese lab leak or not, or if it is and why and what. All the whys. We don't yet know the details exactly, but we all know it was from Wuhan, the Wuhan lab, obviously, right? But he was there to stop American agents from officially blaming the COVID-19 on China. All right, Kevin Warsh is now the 17th leader of the Federal Reserve, officially. Congratulations. The Senate confirmed Donald Trump's choice on Wednesday after winning a vote of 54-45. How amazing. He replaces Jerome Powell, who, by the way, will actually stay on the board, on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. He won't go out completely. Warsh inherits a complicated economy. The stock market is doing well, and the number of people without jobs is low. But America recently went through 5 years of high inflation, and prices went up again because of the war with Iran, obviously. President Trump is demanding that the Federal Reserve cut interest rates to make borrowing money cheaper. We know Biden managed to get the interest rates, the inflation very high without a war. With a war, I guess it makes sense. Warsh, well, he had a war, actually, Biden, but it wasn't like a full-scale war. It was wars outside, like Ukraine. Warsh previously said there is a good case to cut rates, but price data from April shows prices are still going up, making immediate cuts a little bit harder to justify. Warsh served as a Federal Reserve governor from 2006 to 2011. Since leaving, he has criticized the bank. He argued it became too big and not involved too much in the actual people, the economy. He's promising big changes to return to stable prices. He wants to stop telling the financial markets exactly what the bank plans to do next. A judge in Brooklyn sentenced a neo-Nazi cult leader named Mikhail, I can't pronounce his name now, Kivishvili. Tata, what a name. Kikvishvili. Kikvishvili. What a name. No wonder he's a neo-Nazi. I mean, who wouldn't become one with such a name? They sentenced him to 15 years in prison. He was arrested for directing terror plots against Yidden and other minority groups. Him with his name, let him rot in prison. He is only 22 years old, but let him rot in prison. Why? Because he's got hatred in him. Or maybe there was a story once, a very amazing story about a Jewish rabbi who walked into a store, in a neo-Nazi's store. Or the other way around, actually. The neo-Nazi walked into a Jewish rabbi store, didn't know this guy was Jewish, actually, because he was wearing his garb and his hat and didn't look Jewish, obviously. He didn't realize. He bought the stuff. He served him so nicely, gave him everything. And then the guy looks at him and he sees a tattoo on his hand against Jews with a cross, with a Nazi swastika on his hand, tattooed. And he asked him, "Do you support this movement?" That's the owner, the Jewish owner asked him, and he goes, "Yes." He started talking about the Jews and this and that. He said, "By the way, just saying, I don't want you to do anything to me, but I'm Jewish." He says, "Can't be." He says, "Well, I am. They say that you guys are nasty. There's a whole thing." Turns out that he basically was educated through YouTube online about all these hatred things about Jews, and it turns out this Jewish, the nicest person. Do you know why? Because this person, what happened? I maybe didn't tell the story, the full story, but I'll tell you what happened. Not only did he come into that store to buy something, but the guy called him back saying, "By the way, you paid a little bit too much. I want to give you a refund." And he gave him back the money because he paid him too much. So he said, "It can't be. I thought you guys are money hoarders and hoarders, and you are thieves and you control everything." But turns out he took off the tattoo and he went away from his terrible views and he became a good friend. So sometimes, sometimes this 22-year-old, I'm not going to danakavschis him, but because I don't have to, because of what he did, he led a violent online group called the Maniac Murder Cult. He wants to kill Jews. This group planned to kill Jewish children in New York City. To do this, he convinced a follower to give poison candy to Jewish schools. The FBI secretly entered his network, and this led him to his arrest last year. Now he was sentenced, obviously, 15 years in prison. Not enough, by the way, just saying. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey said he is very worried about growing anti-Israel feeling, the growing anti-Israel feeling in the Democratic Party. It's a long one. Thank you for bearing with me. He spoke at the event for Jewish Democrats and explained, so as much as people say and have often, I have to quote him, right, and have often said, no, we're talking about Zionists, not Jews. Well, many of those same people are tying Zionism to Judaism, and you can't have it both ways at the same time. You're either against Zionism, which is acceptable, but you can't just use it whenever you hate Jews, because you use it whenever you hate Jews, and that's the problem. Federal prosecutor said a man from Missouri helped organize the New Year's Eve terror attack in New Orleans. The man posted online videos explaining how to build bombs. Investigators believe the ISIS terrorist used the same tutorials to plan the Bourbon Street attack. And in the same context, but in Australia, there's a report that just came out that Navid Akram, with his father, who came and shot up and killed 15 Yidden at the Bondi Beach, Erev Chanukah, for those you remember the Chanukah event. It killed Reb Eli Schlanger and many, many other constituents who participated there. Terrible story. They found out that the Jewish community knew about this Navid Akram in 2019, and they reported it to the authorities, and they did nothing about it. In the UK, King Charles promised quick action against the rising anti-Semitism. Yesterday, I made a whole episode about him. If you watch it, you'll see at the end. Funny. It's actually interesting because I compared it to a play that we had. Anyway, the king announced new government plans to fight anti-Yiddish anti-Semitism and threats from foreign countries. At the same time, Rebbes from Golden Screen sent a letter to Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who's, by the way, on his way out. Yeah, they asked him to strengthen the fight against anti-Semitism following recent attacks against Yiddish neighborhoods. Well, see how that works. Police in Paris arrested a 27-year-old... see how that works because Keir Starmer, what does he know? Police in Paris arrested a 27-year-old Tunisian man who was planning a terrorist attack against Yiddish communities in Paris. He is now in police custody, but they have not his name. Well, sorry, they have not yet released who he is and what and why. So far, this is what we know. A jury found a 64-year-old American man guilty of operating a secret Chinese police station where? In Manhattan. Federal prosecutors say Liu Jianwang helped open an illegal office, a police station, a Chinese police station in Chinatown in Manhattan in 2022. He was convicted of working as an unregistered agent for the Chinese government. What a story. Trump's space missile defense plan could cost more than $1 trillion. Do you know what that is? That is the Golden Dome for America, which was only estimated to cost about $175 billion. How that works, we will go into it another time. We'll talk about exactly how this is built and what the Golden Dome is all about. It's an operation in space, really, that protects, with a big bubble, it protects the country from flying missiles and bombs and other things. But we'll talk about it in length another time. Now, the Congressional Budget Office said that the true price tag is different. It's actually $1.2 trillion over 20 years. 20 years, basically. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani has returned to radio after serious health problems. Do you know who he is, Rudy Giuliani? I did mention that he was sick. He wasn't well. Well, he was hospitalized with a viral pneumonia, and now he's fully recovered. It looks like it has helped, and returned yesterday to host his conservative talk show that he has. YS Capital Group. Why? What do you mean YS? Of course, because YS Capital Group. The best. This is where you go. YS Capital 718-831-2168 when you want a loan. Police in Los Angeles arrested a billionaire real estate tycoon, Stephen Kuhlbeck, yesterday. Stephen Kuhlbeck. Mr. Kuhlbeck, a rich guy, he basically, a Democratic donor, briefly ran for governor for California, was arrested in Hollywood and released on a $300,000 bail. Prosecutors say the charges felony witness tampering. They claim that he threatened witnesses involved in a burglary case concerning his partner, Mr. Klubeck threatened them, and obviously he denies the entire claim against him, but they still arrested him. During hearings in Capitol Hill, former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell suddenly froze up. This is not the first time this happened, by the way. The 84-year-old senator's moment raised alarms about his health, but President Trump quickly responded, saying McConnell's aide was controlling the older senator. What happened? He posted in Truth Social, quote, "The guy that came up to Mitch McConnell today when McConnell thought the hearing was over and started speaking in his ear for Mitch to belatedly introduce some other people, all Democrats, and by doing so, made Mitch look foolish and completely out of it, should be immediately fired," he said. This was a case where they're making fun of an older man, where Mitch wasn't confused. He just didn't understand why he was being asked to do something when it was too late, and people were wrapping up to leave already. They wanted to go home. These are the words President Trump said. Now, if you can decipher exactly what I said, great, good on you. I kind of understood, but it's hard to read, you know. The Bucharest 9 military meeting, 9, took place yesterday. This group consists of 9 NATO countries situated on the eastern edge of the alliance, close to Russia. The leaders released a joint statement following the summit, backing what they call a NATO 3.0 strategy. The statement specifically named Russia as the main long-term threat to the alliance. Meanwhile, in Washington, House Democrats forced a vote yesterday on new funding for Ukraine. The bill seeks to provide $1.3 billion in military aid for Ukraine, along with new sanctions aimed at Russia. Okay, technology. Astronomers announced a massive discovery this week after finding thousands of potential new planets. Scientists re-examined old data from the NASA Kepler telescope using updated computing power today, with AI obviously. They found signs of more than 10,000 previously hidden worlds that orbit distant stars, which are called exoplanets. If confirmed, this discovery will triple the total number of known planets today, to us by history, what we teach the kids in school, increasing the count from roughly 6,000 to over 16,000 other planets, other worlds. But why are you looking outside when you can be inside? Stay grounded. And that's why you need Arrive Express, because Arrive Express will keep you grounded. Arrive Express takes you places. Arrival Express, 845-622-1111, or 845-254 from the Monroe Fleet, 1111. Now, people have asked me about this, so I'll tell you. I'll report it. President Trump is facing strong disagreement in Congress over his request for $1 billion in funding for the new White House complex. The money is designated primarily for the security enhancements and the construction of a larger, more secure ballroom area. The project is facing resistance from lawmakers in both political parties who are unhappy with the high costs. Republican senators said it this week that even though the White House provided some details on the plan, they still need more information on exactly how the $1 billion will be used for security measures. Senator Mark Mullin was working to convince skeptical GOP lawmakers. He told them that the security features required for the ballroom cannot be funded privately. A reporter asked President Donald J. Trump about the massive cost yesterday, and Trump, obviously, as you heard in my yesterday's news segment, responded sharply by calling the reporter a dumb person. The funding request is still moving forward in the Senate, but Democrats have pledged to fight the measure. In other words, dancing Donald around the billion-dollar question. Dancing in the ballroom around the billion-dollar question. It was supposed to be funded, the rest of the ballroom was funded by Trump himself, just saying. All right, thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day. We'll see each other next time, tomorrow.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.